And as much as possible, I just want to say welcome everyone again to an Hour with the Manager Launchpad 2026 Summit, where we're bringing together industry experts, right, to support and also educate the next generation of leaders. And what's been one of the reasons why this event today is very, very remarkable is because it's from a personal experience or personal space whereby far back in my own university days, right, I've always found it in my own space that no, you don't have to graduate and then just get into the market like that, right? There should be something, or there should be a way you should actually think, or there should be an approach where you should actually engage on whatever you're doing beyond just the four walls of the university, right? Because there's also life outside of it. And even when you're done with the university, what are the things that you need to also do, to put yourself at this point where you can as well engage or drive opportunities to yourself or attract opportunities to yourself without even having to do so much, but actually do the right things you should do to stand out. And that thought alone also drove all of these movements to engaging with our partners who we've also had on this call today. Opticlick Titus himself, who is joining us, and we've also had Gloria, and from AIDS for Street Education Initiative, and that alone can tell you that this is beyond just a personal thing, but we've seen that these are all youth, these are all young people who are coming together to also inspire you. So as much as possible, we want this to be very, very practical. We want this to be very, very informative. This conversation is going to be as much as possible actionable in the sense that once you're done with this call, you'll also have the opportunity to take the next steps, not just listen to it or join this event and then listen to it and then probably go back to it. But no, we're going to be walking you through different steps and everything that you need to engage yourself with. So as you're joining us, we just want to say something real quick. In the comment section, we'd like you to do three things for us, right? So we'd like to know everyone who's joining us today. So whether you're a graduate or you're a final year student or you're an early professional or an entrepreneur. So if you're a graduate or a final year student or an NYC student, just type in the comment section A, just leave it there like A, capital A. And if you're an early professional, you're done with school, you what do you call it? You just started a job, or probably you're early on in your career. Just type the B, capital B for us, and then C. If you're an entrepreneur who just loves to be creative, who just loves to go beyond what you should actually do as what do you call it? Maybe a professional career. You just want to explore your creative side and also build amazing ventures. So you can type the capital C, right? And that would also help us have the breakout session with ease. But nonetheless, I just want to welcome everyone who's joining us. And thank you very much, Grace, for that. Welcome everyone who's joining us, and know that you're in the right space, you're in the perfect space. And today's Saturday is actually a good one for you to be here, taking out time to, instead of a laundry, but to be here to really engage with this. So I'll be having here on this call my co-host, who would also take over from here and who would take control of the events, the speakers and everything, in person of Gloria Tor, who is the founder of AIDS for Street Education Initiative, and who has been working at the forefront of education itself with other entrepreneurs, students, and also street kids. Whose mic is that? Okay. Oh, sorry. So she'll be taking over this call and would also walk us through how the conversation will look like, how the event would go, and what you should expect at the end of the day. But as much as possible, thank you guys and welcome to an Hour with the Manager Launchpad Summit 2026. Gloria, please.
Thank you so much, Ubong. Hi, everybody. My name is Gloria, so as Ubong has earlier introduced me, it's a pleasure to have you all on the Launchpad Summit. So here's what I need from you all today. I need you to be present, but when you get started, you say that everything moves on very swift. Now we'll begin this session with a keynote that sets the foundation for everything else. And we'll be starting with our first keynote speaker, David Ewele, who will be taking us on a section. Before he comes on stage, I want you to read his biography while we have him on stage.
Okay. Thank you for that. All right. So, yeah, meet David Ewele, who is our first keynote speaker. David Ewele is a growth marketing leader and a strategic advisor operating at the intersection of fintech, AI, and venture capital. As a leading marketing expert and cloud plexo, David spearheads go-to-market for cloud infrastructure and automation products, including the AI-driven workflow suite agent spec.
All right. Thank you so much, Ubong. Mic check. Can you hear and see me?
Perfect.
Great. Fantastic. I would say it's been a privilege to share the room with you guys, fantastic audience, as well as the fantastic speakers who will be coming after me. Ensuring that we groom the next generation of leaders is something that always sits very right with me, particularly seeing the trend that we're seeing among younger people. I want to see and be a part of anything that ensures that the next generation of leaders stand out and they're unique, they're outstanding, and they go on to expand globally to make a mark in their careers and generally worldwide. So this is a very, very rare privilege for me, and I appreciate it. I appreciate Ubong and Tim for bringing me out here. Today, I'll be sharing just a few tips and strategies on personal branding for emerging leaders. And I'm going to be taking from a point of view because I'm someone who does not necessarily post every day, but whenever I do, I tend to make a mark. And because of that, I receive messages and requests from people who need help in one way or the other, or who are hiring, or who are trying to offer opportunities to me, even when I don't post it every day. While I don't post every day, there are some other things that I do that make this possible. And this is what I'll be sharing with you guys today. And I've taken time to tailor this to an emerging leader, not someone who is already advanced in their career. Because when you're emerging, you are not necessarily a subject matter expert. So you should not be posting every day on things that you don't know about, giving opinions on things. Some even go on to become political analysts. When you are essentially you are studying something technical, you should be focusing on honing your skills on those technical stuff and ensuring that you are right there and growing and sharpening your iron. And so that's why the Quiet Leaders personal brand is what I want to talk about. This is essentially for people who are just growing their careers. They want to ensure that they are visible, they are seen, and not necessarily making a noise, in quote. So that's what this is about. And it's going to feature largely about the anti-posting strategy. When you are not posting, what should you be doing? That's what we'll be talking mostly about. Ubong and Tim have given an idea of what I do. I drive marketing at a technology company, but beyond that, I'm also a digital transformation consultant. I help organizations use technology to improve their operations. I also work as a venture scout, which is essentially just helping venture builders and venture capital companies find companies to invest in, and to help founders also make their companies investable. I also work play very closely in the ecosystem, particularly the Europe, Middle East, and Africa tech ecosystem, to ensure that founders, operators, and investors get the support that they need all through. Okay, so we'll be talking about the fundamentals of an identity audit, the fundamentals of personal branding. And I'm going to be starting by saying, who are you? That is identifying your core non-negotiables. Who are you? What are the values that you define? And when no one is watching, what are the things that you want to be known for? That's at the core of your personal brand. For me, it's going to be someone who is very, very inspired by technology and wants to see technology change the lives of people, individuals, and companies. So that's the core of who I am. At the core, I'm also someone who values things like honesty. I value things like being unique, being remarkable, taking things from point A to point B very fast, understanding technology and using it to your advantage to create a very huge gap between you and your competitors. These are the things I care very much about. I also care a lot about growth for individuals, growth for companies. And these are tied very deeply into my core. Who you are not. For example, you would rarely or rarely ever see me post things about politics or about say gender, um, um, LGBTQ or stuff like that. While I have my personal beliefs about these things, I do not think that they form the core of my personal brand. So these are not things that you find me posting about. You also don't find me posting things about so the entertainment industry, particularly when it comes to reality shows or stuff like that. You largely not find me there. So I know very well what I do not stand for, and I know what I stand for. And so knowing who you are and knowing who you are not is very key to your personal brand. I'd argue that knowing who you are not is even more important, because when you can strip away what you are not over time, you can then begin to arrive at what you are. So if you are not sure who you are, be very sure of who you are not, because that would form the core of who you are at the end of the day. All right. So in bringing this together, I'll just take it to the next level and saying your unique proposition should be to say what only you can say and do what only you can do. And that is to tap into your unique history. What is my unique history? Before I started doing growth marketing, I was a software engineer at a technology company. So that means that I have a history of writing code, of being close to engineers, of building technical stuff. So when I describe myself these days, I describe myself as a retired engineer or a technology leader who has had an history in building technology products and now has an history selling them and scaling them. So for you, it will be something different. The idea is that you tie into your very rich history. Everybody's history is going to be different. And that's why I say what only you can say and do what only you can do. Ideally, there might be 1, 2, or 3 people that can say the same thing you can say, but not just everybody should be able to say what you said and it will mean the same thing to them. That's the idea of being unique. Like, I can wager that in this call now, less than 10% of the people on this call can say that they were a software engineer in the last 5 years, and they now have gone on to start building and supporting teams who are building on the commercial stage. That is the idea of being unique. What are the things that stand out about you? And even when you're just growing, when you're just building, it could be your upbringing. It could be that you grew up under parents who were highly professional or who were highly academical. Maybe your 2 parents have PhDs, something like that, or you grew up in a very commercial setting. You grew up helping your parents in the market to sell their wares. These things tie into your core, they tie into your story. So you being able to articulate your story very well will determine how unique your proposition is. Okay, and then we go to you telling your story in comments. Sometimes being visible is not necessarily about making your post. Sometimes a thoughtful comment on a viral post is more consequential than you just posting every time. I've gone on to prove it by data. I'll share that in following slides. But before I get to that, I'll talk about having the service first mindset. In building a personal brand as an emerging leader, you should be very, very keen to ensure that you're seeking to serve than seeking to be served. When you are just growing your career, seek to serve than be seeking to be served, right? Try to see how you can help people. What are the things that people are building that you can be a part of? What are the leadership qualities that you think you can learn by just volunteering your skills to other professionals who might be way more advanced in their careers? Offer specific introductions. You know someone who can help a particular founder do something better. Why not introduce them? If you've had access to some resource, maybe you found it on LinkedIn, you can save it somewhere, and when someone is looking for something that they need to advance their careers or to build something, you can share it with them. They will be very thankful to you for doing that. And even when opportunities come, you might be one of the first set of people that they refer to help out in things like that. Also, ensure that you're always listening. When you're in rooms, be very slow to speak and be very fast to listen. Ensure that you're always listening to what people are asking about, what people are complaining about. That can inform what solutions that you can bring to people and bring to the market. I'm going to talk about substance over hype here. This means that you should try to see that you're doing something of very high remarkability, things that you can talk about later in your career, not just being a big part of small things. I wrote here that the most powerful brand is a portfolio of results. How can you drive results for people? How can you ensure that your work speaks for itself without you interrupting? If you search my name on the internet, and I do that quite often, you would see articles that I've written about things that I've done. You'd see events that I've been a part of, and not just been a part of. Probably I joined them to contribute to the event, to plan the event. I probably spoke at the events too. So these are ideas about building a personal brand by substance. Make sure you are doing stuff that is remarkable, that you can speak about later in your career. I attached a picture here about Jitex. This is where we gathered over 500 founders and investors and venture capitalists across the world to come talk with founders in the community. And this is something epic. Everybody wants to be a part of something like this, and you can see it represents everyone across different continents. You can see an Arab here. You can see people of different countries and destinations. So doing epic stuff is a very fast way to inspire your visibility, to make you visible and make you accessible to connections and to solutions and to opportunities worldwide. And I've attached a very, very important quote here, which is, I'd rather play a small part of a remarkable big thing than to be a big part of a small thing. Very key. If you don't take anything out of this session, this is one thing that you should take out of it. Being a small part of a remarkable thing than being a big part of a small thing. You see someone doing something that would impact the next 5,000 youths, try to be a part of it in your small way. If you're a graphic designer, you can offer to design the slides of the person, or the logo of the event, or whatever it is. If you are skilled in video editing, you can offer to do the post-production of the event. If you are a data analyst, you can offer to analyze the data of people who attended the event, and just be a small part of a big thing. And when you talk about it, it's going to expose you to opportunities worldwide, and it's something that people are going to be able to relate with. Look at Jitex, for example. Anywhere you hear Jitex around the world, it's something that's known. It's a brand that's known. So being a small part of a big thing will definitely set you apart. Okay, and that takes us to the learn and share loop. I've talked about everything apart from posting. I tried so much to not talk too much about posting, because while people think that it's something that sets you apart, I think that it's something that would kick in when you already know what you're doing and you have proof to show for what you have done. And it starts with curiosity. What are the things that you're curious about? What are the skills that are worth mastering? And this could also come from you volunteering in different ways. That's how you learn what you might have the flair for. Also iterating, build things, test things out, fail in the real world. Sometimes you can share what you're learning when you're working on something. Also try to codify that into a unique framework, and then broadcast it, share the lesson. You don't want to keep it to yourself often. You want to share it on your LinkedIn, on your Medium, or on your Substack, or your Twitter, whatever social media platform it is, or even if you have a personal website, you can do that there. Okay. I wanted to talk very well about expanding your surface area. One thing about luck these days, people are beginning to assert that the luck is a function of not just you staying in one place and luck coming to meet you. It's also a function of how you are expanding your surface area of luck, or expanding your surface area of luck, which just means working on remarkable things, going to places where they are doing remarkable stuff, and just being in the place where things are happening. Ensure that you're building bridges with people. You know someone that does this, and you know someone that does this, and you see that these two people can help each other. Why not connect them to each other? You see this company that can do this, and you see this entrepreneur that needs this particular service. Why not connect them to each other? Even if you will not get a commission at all, but you'll be remembered as someone who has connected two people together. And when opportunities comes at either side of things, you might be one of the first people that they would reach out to help out. Also, take note of passive signals. Optimize your profile to work while you sleep. Your clear bio. Who are you? Who you are not. I've talked about that in the first slide, right? This is going to make you visible. And then deep presence. Sometimes you need to take your presence beyond social media and internet to physical. And so you see from that event where we attended, these are some of the people who we had been talking online. But when we met physically, we had chats, we shared a drink here, conversation there. a quick session here. This helps you get more familiar with people and help them in a very close and experiential manner. Okay, I talked about comments earlier. It's proven by data that you dropping a comment or sharing in a remarkable subject matter is more impactful than you just making posts a lot of time. And you see from studies here that you can reach as much as 85% efficiency from just dropping the thoughtful comments. So sometimes it could be that you agree with something, and it could be that you disagree, but disagree honorably, disagree respectfully. You disagree to what someone has said. And if you go to my LinkedIn, for example, you see a lot of comments. You see more comments than posts. I might not post in an entire week, but you'll find me commenting 3 times in the week, and it's probably just agreeing to what somebody's saying, disagreeing to what someone's saying, sharing a different perspective as to what someone's saying, or even just dropping a cheeky comment, like just making a very small harmless joke as to what someone is saying. These things help increase your reach even when you are not posting. So try to ensure that you're doing this, and not to forget, try to also ensure that you're posting about what you're learning, posting about where you are going, places you're attending, and things you're doing to improve yourself. These are some things that help you. So if you want to bring it together, it is identity first, ensuring that you know who you are, knowing who you are not, ensuring that you are commenting, you are actively listening, and you are contributing to conversations, ensuring that your substance is there, doing epic stuff. Epic stuff requires no marketing, and ensuring that you are consistent in the value that you have out of. And that also means that you are learning more about your industry or the industry you're trying to enter. And you are, by learning more, you are equipping yourself to be able to contribute more honorably to conversations where you should be in. Okay, and with that, I think we've come to the end of what I had to share. I tried to collapse everything into a very small tidbit. So if you have any questions, I think you can, there'll be some time for you to share that. That's been my contribution to the session on personal branding. If you would like to connect with me, I'll drop my link tree somewhere here. Or you just go to linkedin.com/in/David Ewele. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, or just search out David Ewele, any of the platforms where you find me. I'm most present on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to listen to you and to answer your questions and to offer help wherever you might need help. I think with that, I've come to the end of the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, David, for that powerful conversation. I'm already seeing the hands with the audience. Please show some love. Share your favorite emoji as much as possible. That was very, very powerful. And I must say that was very, very insightful for everyone who's listening. And most importantly, I think one statement that stands out is quiet leaders, or rather the topic was on quiet leaders personal brand, right? How you can be without having to post every day or engage every day, but make the most impact, right? Knowing who you are and who you are not, so you don't have to find yourself doing so much and achieving less results, thinking you're actually doing a lot, right? So thank you very much, David, for that powerful conversation. I think Gloria is having challenges with her internet, otherwise should probably have to continue with this. So I'll just briefly say, is there any question from the audience you want to say? Is there any question?
Okay, good morning, everyone. Very sorry, my mic was muted. I want to say a big thank you to the speaker, and I think I'll just quickly ask my question. Now, you spoke a lot, you've just spoken to us on personal branding, and I think I'm going to be asking my question from the angle of a real-world challenge now. What's the biggest mistake you can say you see people make when trying to build their personal brand, and how can it be corrected early?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest mistake is, I mentioned 2 things, but I think one of the gravest mistake is knowing who you are not. Like you don't know who you are not. That's one big mistake. When you don't know who you are not, you are just going to find yourself wading into just every conversation. The first mistake I said was not knowing who you are not. Like when you do not know who you are not, you find yourself just everywhere. The second mistake is to think that you just showing up every day, posting every kind of thing means that you are present and you have built a personal brand. Whereas it's I'd wager that it's more, what's more important is your depth, what you are contributing to bigger things, like being a part of big things. That's what attracts more people to you in terms of real substance, focusing on substance than just activities. Those are the two things that I think that people should take note of, and mistakes people should avoid when building personal brand.
Yeah, I wanted to thank him. So thank you very much. I think I find it interesting emphasizing it under the umbrella of self-awareness as a foundation. That's really nice.
So we just want to say thank you very much, David, for that impactful session. And as much as possible, that is why we're here, to understand how to move from just thinking or over researching, but rather to putting into things into practical knowledge or ways of engagement. So I want to say thank you very much again for that insight. So for our next session for this event today, we are going to be having our panel discussion where we'll bring together two industry experts in person of Lady Shayo and Ayo, who would be sharing much insightful conversations where we're going to discuss deeply beyond what Dave has already shared. We're going to go deeper into that conversation, to dissect. All right. So I am just going to start with Ayo. So we have Mr. Ayo Aribagbobo, who is a frailty ACP and digital health specialist. Ayo is an advanced clinical practitioner and physiotherapist based in the United Kingdom with extensive experience in rehabilitation, community healthcare, and healthy aging. His work spans both clinical practice and professional education, with a strong commitment delivering evidence-based, patient-centered healthcare solutions that enhance well-being and improve functional outcomes. Lady Shayo Imologome, who is a chartered management consultant and certified change practitioner. Lady Shayo is a keen trend watcher with a strong passion for strategy, execution, innovation, and change and transformation. She's equally committed to leadership and personal development. She built her career over 30 years in corporate Nigeria, gaining experience in finance, auditing, compliance, consulting, business development, and strategy before relocating to the UK. An entrepreneur at heart, she was a co-founder of Strat Innovate Consulting, where she served as managing consultant for 4 years. To also get to understand from the guest of my first speaker, who has touch points on very critical aspects, right? And even with the question that came through, right? How should you really position yourself? You're done with school, you're getting into the market, and you're trying to package yourself. You know that there are already guys who have been there before you. There are other professionals who have been there before you. And how can you also set yourself apart in such a way that you can also be identified or be spotted out, even by not making so much noise, by making little simple efforts, practical efforts, right? How can you prepare yourself? How can you put yourself ready enough to face some of the challenges? Because sometimes it's not always rosy. You would always find some of these challenges, and that would bring us to some of the focus points which we'll be having today. So I'm just going to quickly begin with Lady Shayo, right? So for someone who is in the first year of work, that what separates those who grow quickly from those who remain stuck? That is someone who is just done with school and counting already. 1 year is first year, second year. How am I going to do it? What should I do, right, to realize that I'm actually growing and not feeling stuck? What are some of these things that you think early career professionals should fully be aware of? From your own experience, I think is actually practical and worth listening to.
Okay, right. So very valid question. And I would say that some of the mistakes that we made back in the day, this generation are, I think they're more informed and they're more intentional. And so if you are just starting your career, my advice would be have a plan, be intentional. I think when we just started working and we just cruised along and we were just having fun, we were not that intentional. But I would say have a plan. So you're working in an organization. How long do you plan to work in that particular company? How do you see your growth within that company? Is there opportunity to grow? That's the first question. Are there opportunities for training? For example, can you upskill? Are there programs that the company would sponsor you for? Can you get certified while you're in that organization? So be intentional about your journey. Don't just leave everything to chance. Give yourself a timetable, so to say. If you're a woman, for example, maybe do you plan to get married while you're still working in that particular company? Does it have policies that are favorable to you as a woman? For example, what's the maternity policy? Is it favorable? What other opportunities are available? So be intentional, ask questions, get information, be informed. Is what you're doing in line with your long-term vision or goal for your career? We do see a lot of people moving from one career to the other. We see people that have read biochemistry in university, but they have a desire to go into catering. So ask yourself all of these questions and be very, very intentional about your journey and plan. The second thing I would say is also, while you are working, learn as much as you can. If possible, learn things outside your normal job function. How do you do that? So if I'm an accountant, for example, I work in the finance department, but maybe I have a friend who is in operations. What can you learn about that business? How much of the operations can you understand? So don't just work in a manufacturing organization as an accountant and not have knowledge of how that particular organization works, not have knowledge of the industry in which the organization operates. It's an opportunity for you to equip yourself with that information and knowledge, because you never know, in your future journey, that information can come in very handy and be useful to you. So those are the two things I would quickly say you could do to maximize and to grow as you start your career journey.
So I just want to quickly come in right before I get to IO. So for those who don't really understand what journey mapping looks like, what should they take home today, right, to get deeper knowledge into maybe breaking down their own plans and aspirations for the next couple of years in their career?
Okay, so when we say, so it's basically a map of how you want to take your journey, how you want to progress in life. They say if you don't plan, what's that saying? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So rather than just cruise along, because if you don't have a direction of where you're going, anything that comes your way, you just flow into it, and that might not really get you to where you're going. So where do you see yourself? That question that they ask you at interviews, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? What do you plan to do with yourself? Sometimes it might not be very clear. Yes, sometimes you might not even know what you want to do, but still have a plan, no matter what it is. Still have something, written down. It doesn't have to be so technical or detailed, but have a plan. And as you go along, when you see an opportunity, you can ask yourself, this opportunity, does it fall in line with my long-term plan? If I go with this opportunity, is it going to help me or not? You can ask those informed questions, and that will help you make the right decisions that are best for you.
All right. Thank you very much for that deep dive. So, Ayo, do you have any contributive message for this?
I think Lady Shayo have actually covered most of the things that one we need to consider when you're going into employment. Let's say you are already in a post and you don't want to get stuck in that particular post. You understand? Let's say, for example, in the health sector where I work, we have different bands and levels. Even in Nigeria as well, you have different levels when I'm just talking about the government establishment. You don't want to get stuck when you get into an employment. And how do you look at that? How do you manage those kind of situations when you are in a position? You just want to make a progress. You want a career progression. And as a person, you got to realize that there are things that you have in terms of technical competencies that you have. But in addition, there are other aspects you got to look at, because you're working in a team. A team has an objective. It has a mission of what they need to be doing. You understand? And what's your own contribution to that team to make sure that they're actually able to achieve their goals? You have a team, you have a management, what's called like a meet managers, let me put it that way. And you have the leadership teams as well in an organization. If you want to be able to not to be stuck, number one, you got to look at what is your relationship with the team members. You understand? Are you the kind of person that work as a team member, that work quite effectively with the other members of the team? Well, especially if you're just starting as well, you got to be able to, because I remember when I first finished from university as a physiotherapist, I remember going to Lodz to go and do my internship. The first patient I actually saw, I was asking myself, am I really the one treating this person? So that's what we call imposter syndrome will actually come in as well. So you got to have a belief in yourself and actually need to dig deep into your core competency. What are the things that you've been asked to do? You got to make sure that you develop yourself really well. This means that going outside and getting the knowledge that you need to have so that wherever possible you can develop it. And where possible also, you need to look for mentors within that sector or within that team you're working with, so that they can actually guide you through and be able to ensure that you move up quickly. Because if you don't know, how would you be able to progress? How would you be able to solve solution? Because you're there to solve solution. So that would just be my own contribution in that aspect. If you've been able to secure, you've been able to put your foot in, then you got to look at how do you move up the system. So that's just my own contribution, so that you don't get stuck when you've been able to get your step into a position. Thank you.
As we've heard our guests mention, these are more reasons why we need to engage with this, so that you don't feel stuck. Because, like we mentioned, this conversation is not here for you to. We're not here to what do you call it, to hold your hands to tell you, oh, you need to take this by force. No, it's for you personally to also dig deep into yourself, understand who you really are, so that it will really make sense for your journey, and you can also know how far you're going to go. But our next conversation or question will have to come from some of the mistakes, right? Which we know that a lot of professionals or a lot of early career professionals do engage with, to find, right? Either as a graduate or as an entrepreneur, might find some of these challenges trying to move from where you are to the next level, right? So, Ayo, what are some of the biggest mistakes, right, young professionals really do in their early years of career? I know we've already mentioned, some of the things that might make them feel stuck, or some of the things that, would hinder some of that growth process. But what are those critical mistakes you think early professionals usually?
In terms of mistakes that we can make during the early stage of a career, I would say, like personal level, I would say, if you're going into any career and you're going to any job, it's always good to have a kind of objectives. You need to have a goal of what you want to do. If you're just saying, oh, I'm just going to go for any job that comes my way, then it means that being able to achieve or develop your full potential will be really difficult for you. So have that clarity of purpose is really important for us, because once you have your purpose, then that will be able to guide you when you see opportunity. This opportunity, is it in alignment with what I want to do, or am I just using it like a stopgap to be able to move on to something else? You understand? So really important, I would say, if we don't have any clear goal of what we want to achieve, then there's a tendency that we might miss the mark along the way. So for me, it's really important for us to be able to set a clarity of what we want to be able to achieve. So that would be one thing. The other thing is also to have this I know it all at the beginning. If you're just entering into a new career, into a new profession, or into a new setting, we need to believe in ourselves. There's no doubt about that. But if you now think, oh, I know it all, and you're not having that listening or that coachable spirit, it makes it really difficult for that person to be able to move forward. Because if somebody's giving you some instruction and you start countering that person, that makes it more difficult for you to be able to progress. So for me, I would say is knowing what you want to do, have a clarity of purpose. That's number one. And also have that teachable spirit where you can actually be teachable. That means that you'll be curious to know what is really going on around you, which will help you to move forward. And at the same time, be ready to learn and be attentive or be able to listen to other people, more especially people that are more experienced than you when you're just entering the your profession?
Okay, so I just want to bring this to Lady Shayo, right? Just tying to what Ayo have already mentioned. So he just cited a very important point, which is being overconfident, right? Which can be a very big mistake, which some lot of early professionals might engage themselves in. So why do you think overconfidence can actually stall your growth, or distort where you're going in your career?
Okay, yeah. So when you start anything, come to think of it, you come into a new organization, you come in, yes, it's good to have a healthy level of confidence, but at the same time, you're coming into a new environment, right? You don't yet understand how that environment works. You don't understand the politics that are present in that environment. And then you're coming in with overconfidence. I have seen people trip over themselves, let me put it like that, because you don't know the powers that be. You don't know the dynamics you don't know the culture. So while you should have confidence in yourself, yes, but you also need to take a step back and understand the environment that you're working in. Understand who the power players are, understand the politics, because whether we like it or not, every single environment, wherever there are human beings, there is politics. And one of the key things to being successful in any environment, whether you are an entrepreneur, whether you are you're building your career, you must understand the internal politics of the environment that you are working in for you to be able to navigate. So when you are overconfident, you tend to make mistakes, say things you ought not to say, or say them in a manner in which you're not supposed to say them, or maybe say them to the wrong people. And these things can backfire against you. So yes, have a healthy level of self-confidence, yes, self-esteem, yes, but also be very aware of your environment that you are working and the culture of of where you are working as well, so that you can now strategically take action, in the right way and in the right manner that will help you proceed in your journey.
All right. Thank you for going deep into that, right? And I just want to say quickly that most times you might even find yourself with that the next person who is close to you, just to add up, that the next person who's close to you might be able to upskill you from what you're doing. Probably your colleague who has been there before you, maybe 1 month, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. But just being able to understand their own perspective and being able to walk or flow with them can also, let off guard sometimes. What I'm trying to share is sometimes just let off guard and accept to learn, accept to not know anything, accept to know that this is a new environment where you're finding yourself. And the best thing you can do for yourself at this time, until you either leave here or you stay for the next 10, 15, 20 years, is to just understand the dynamics, build your confidence, work with the right people you should work with, and as much as possible. But now, just moving forward from our discussion, right? I know Lady Shah have already talked about ethical leadership, but we're going to come to that, right? So we find a lot of people who still at the early days of their career, while they get on board, they kind of struggle with, understanding office dynamics, understanding office politics, understanding what you should actually do, because office politics, somehow it actually exists, whether you like it or yes, but you would always need to understand what you should do, to keep yourself on a standstill, to always know how to, navigate and stay resilient at most important time, right? So what are some of these mistakes you think, what are some of the things rather, right, early career professionals should rather prioritize as opposed to waiting to maybe achieve the big dream, but at that early stage, what are the things they should really prioritize that will really, put them at a standout point in the Shire? How I should actually approach my job, as opposed to what they call it, social media posting and saying I got a new job. Meanwhile, you're delivering less, right?
Okay. What I would advise is that when you start any job at any level, not just when you come in, not just when you are starting out your career. I think what is important is learn to document, right? Learn to document your achievements very early. Document your daily activities. Now, you don't have to be so detailed. I'm not saying write it in a very detailed form, but use the STAR method. And I think the STAR method is something that is very popular with a lot of us. I'm sure a lot of us know about the STAR method, especially when we're answering interview questions. The STAR method simply says, S is the situation. So for example, you're in the finance department, or you're in sales, or you're in operations, wherever you are. Every activity, project, assignment, whatever it is, what was the situation in which you did it? Have a journal, a private journal, where you keep a record of some of these activities. What was the situation, right? What was the task that you had to accomplish to address the situation? What actions did you take in accomplishing the task? And most importantly, what was the result of the whole activity? So were you able to finalize the report in time for management to produce the end of month financials, for example? What were the results, and how were those results beneficial to the organization that you're working with? Now, have a record of all of those activities. Personally, keep them aside, because at a point in time when you have an opportunity to showcase what you have done, you can easily go back and reference to it. Secondly, when you're applying for jobs, this is like your dossier of accomplishments and achievements that you can showcase at an interview or at a promotional interview. You got that as a backup. Now, while you are recording that, also open, how do we say it in Nigeria? Shine your eye. Shine your eyes. Understand what other people are doing. Ask questions, especially if you find people that are receptive to your questions. Ask questions. Get a deeper and better understanding of what other people are doing, because sometimes your understanding of what that person is doing can be a door for progress. For example, you understand you are working on maybe you are in charge of debtors in finance, and you have a colleague in charge of creditors. Understand how that person works. The day that that person is not available, maybe sick, off on holiday or whatever, and they need somebody to do something, you can step forward and say, oh, I can solve that problem, because you understand how it works. And that could open up another opportunity for you. You never can say. So I would say be very observant. Like my mother would say, watch with your eyes and keep your mouth shut. Do less talking and more observing. Observe, understand, be very strategic. Learn to talk less, especially about things that do not concern you. I think David mentioned something. He said he doesn't post about gender issues and politics because it is not his business. Focus on your business. Don't get into unnecessary conversations about things that have nothing to do with you and you cannot impact. Focus on what you came to do. Focus on your journey. Be very observant and talk less. And like I said, have a record of what you have achieved over time using the STAR method. That would help you.
Ayo, do you have anything to add to that?
I mean, to add to what Lady Shayab actually said, when you are working in an environment, being able to observe is really important. That's number one. And also knowing the dynamics of the team in which you're working. Because like I said earlier on, you're working in a team. Teams is a collection of people. And by the time you study wherever you're working with, you know the character, you know how to deal with each person, you know how to approach them. Because there will be times you need help from other people in the team. You need to progress forward, then being able to understand how to approach each person and how to handle each individual will help you to be able to navigate within the team. So your knowledge is really good, your competence is really good. However, navigating the office politics is really important to be able to know how to go around things. know the right people that will make the decision, knowing the right, what would they say, the decision maker within your team, ensuring that you help them to achieve their goals. You understand? When I mean achieving their goals, their own boss will tell them this is what the teams need to achieve as a goal, as a kind of, let's say, I'll just use an example that I'm very familiar with. Let's say you're working in hospital now. They say, okay, the hospital management have said, okay, we want to look at the situation. We reduce the length of stay of the patients within the hospital. You as someone who is working in the team, what is your own contribution to ensure that that is actually achieved as a goal for the team? Because when you are able to make that contribution, whether in terms of, once the patient comes in, we're going to ensure that everybody has their assessment done. You need to ensure that the families are informed before the time comes to the time of discharge. This needs to be put in place. You doing that little thing will contribute to what is actually your boss objective, the KPI that you've been given to do as a team. And your boss will be able to say, yes, this is somebody that is actually valuable within the team. You understand? So being able to recognize those little things matters a lot. So I'll put it this way. You need to know the objectives of your organization or your team, what they are trying to do. You as a person as well, how can you align your own ambition? I must say, okay, I want to be able to do this in the process. Okay, the little project that I can do to empower my manager, not your manager, but your service to be able to achieve what they're doing is really important. So you doing that will contribute to that. And you are actually strategically advertising your capability, the value you brought to the team. You understand? So that was one area I would say you need to be able to do that. And the other thing I would say is also that spirit of connectivity within the team is really important. That network is really important. I might be going back to that because for you to have got the job, you've got the content. That's let me just put it that way. You have gone to university. If you know what you're doing, you've got your certificate, you've got everything, you've got your experience behind you. So the next level will be how to navigate. Because if you're not strategically marketing yourself, I remember somebody said this on this social media. Is it Cubana chief priest? He said, visibility is currency in this age. If you're not visible, you'll just be left behind. You might be good at what you're doing, but if you're not strategically marketing your value, your potentials to the people that are actually the key decision makers, you'll just be behind the scene. So it's really important for us to be able to know this and actually put it down as A, B, C, D, and actually say, okay, A is your attitude. Do you want to learn? Are you showing that willingness to learn within the team? Ladies, you have actually said, you ask questions. Things are not clear to you. You got to ask questions. You ask today, you won't ask the same question tomorrow, but you keep it to yourself and proving, oh, yeah, I don't want people to know that I don't know this. And I think when you just start job, that's the best time to actually display those opportunities and be able to say, okay, this one I don't know, can you show me this thing? This one I don't know, because in 2-3 years, you can't demonstrate that you know this, and that person is actually valuable. It's not bringing anything. So that opportunity is really important when you're just getting into a new position. Whether you experience or you know this, you got to take that opportunity because each operation is different. You understand? The operation of every setting is different. So you need to know and sit down and gather information. So the attitude is there. You're believing in yourself. Like I said, you got to believe in yourself, but at the same time, at the beginning, don't say, yeah, I know it all. You're using the opportunity to absorb as much as you can from the system, from the operation, so that you get into it. Then your competence, like I said, that is just, you've got that one already. Except you haven't got it, then you've got to make sure that you build yourself up to that level. Then gather the data within the environment in which you're working. Data here, data there, and you use it to inform yourself. And the last thing I would say, your emotional intelligence as well is really important in the environment we are working. If you're not self-aware of yourself and you cannot self-regulate under pressure, then how can you lead? People at the top are looking. We might not be knowing. People at the top will looking at you. Pressure come, you're just panicking right there. If you're panicking, how will you be able to lead a team? You understand? These are really very important things we've got to be looking at as we're moving on into our new journey into the profession. That's just a little thing I would just add to. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayo, for that. And my takeout from that would be service leadership will really help you stand out. Just being able to ask for help, ask for clarity where you don't understand or where you don't know what you don't know. Just not knowing is never a crime. It doesn't hurt, rather it puts you beyond where you might even imagine, right? Because professionals, experts will always appreciate those who want to learn and as much as possible offer those help. And now with the manager itself here, we've also been reaching out to other professionals and experts who also come on board because we don't know it all. Well, we bring other experts who can also, educate and inspire every one of you who watch and engage with us, right? But I just want to drive this to one of the conversation of Ayo, one of the points Ayo just mentioned, talking about being visible, where he referenced the content from the chief priest, right? So for a lot of people here, right, who are thinking through themselves, how am I going to stand out? There's a whole lot of things going on. This is the digital age. I was done with school probably before, or I'm about to graduate. And what I used to hear before in the market is actually not the same, right? So what should what should our listeners here today understand about even being globally competitive, right? Knowing that you're ready to compete in the market, because whether you like it or yes, you are competing directly or indirectly with the next person, but it all depends on how you position yourself, right?
You want me to make a comment on that?
Yes, please.
Okay. The note speaker that actually mentioned something at the beginning. He mentioned about linking post. There's one you got to be. I mean, let's just put it this way: visibility is actually a kind of framework that actually link you to being recognized. You understand? And I actually put it down like a framework for myself as well this morning when I was just thinking about it. So I say it's almost like a road. So the R of it is the recognition. You understand? You're putting yourself out there to be recognized. But before you recognize, you got to have a content. You got to have some things, stuff that you're going to be delivering to other people. But if you haven't got anything and you just go out there and making contribution, then you're probably displaying one's level of incompetency as well. So it's really vital for us to be able to say, one, I know what I know. I know what I don't know. So your scope of practice, you got to be establishing that one. That's number one. Number two is that it gives you opportunity. That's the O of it. It creates opportunity for you. Yeah. Then it accelerates. The A is accelerates your career progression. And D, it actually differentiates you among others. So I'll just give an example now. There was a particular doctor in Nigeria that is always bringing out very solid information and critical issues about health. And I thought, oh, this man is really good. It's Dr. Richard Mjai on LinkedIn. And each time I just put a little comment onto what it says, my own contribution from another perspective. Now, you're pitching yourself out there. And that is what it doesn't mean that you got to go out and say, oh, I'm doing a new long write-up and all the rest. But the people that actually really eye there at the top, how you strategically ensuring that they can see you. You just put a little note, your own contribution to what they've actually expressed in their own, cognitive, whatever they brought out there, intellectual. Just make a little bit comment on it. One funny day, and I just surprised that he just this is, I think, International Men's Day. And among many people, just few people, and he mentioned my name. So that means that I've been able to register my own presence to him. We've never met, but that little effort made a little thing. So when you're talking about global preparedness in terms of our job, in terms of our career, I think these are little things we can actually do. You probably might not be in America, but you can have somebody that's actually out there that you admire. How are you actually interacting with them intellectually? They post something, what contribution, what comment, what other perspective can you bring into it? So that would be one way I would say we can actually mix ourselves, exposing ourselves. Other thing is also ensuring that whatever standard is actually out there, not within the local area where we've been trained. we got to ensure that we know exactly what is expected in our own profession. And if we know what it is, then we work towards it as well so that we can actually attain it. So those are the two things I would just suggest. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayo, for that. Lady Shayo, would you like to add something to that?
Yeah, okay. So yeah, he's already spoken about leveraging on LinkedIn as a means of getting that attention. And like I think both himself and David said, you don't have to create your own posts. You can also strategically comment on other people's posts and still get that visibility. So I'm going to talk about visibility within the organization that you work with, or maybe among the clients that you work with, depending on whether you are in career or entrepreneurship. Visibility within your organization is also very critical. You need to be visible to the decision makers, and there are various ways you can do that. First, of course, it would be the quality of the work that you do. And like I said earlier, keep a record of what that work is. And at opportunities, you need to blow your own trumpets because nobody's going to blow it for you. You know, you need to strategically blow your own trumpet. At meetings, do you speak up? I know we do a lot of online meetings. How many of us put on our cameras? We like to hide behind we put our cameras off. You can be at a meeting and not say a word, but your camera is on. People will notice you. To take it a step higher, say something at the meeting. And some of us feel, especially at meetings where the key decision makers, when you've got the managing directors and board of directors, that is the time that you need to ask questions. That's the time you need to say something. And for some of us that might be a bit shy or you don't know the kind of question to ask, there's a little trick that I always tell people. It's very simple. You don't know what question to ask. Don't worry. For example, Matthew has been presenting. He's been saying a lot of things and you want to say something at the meeting. All you need to do is that, oh, Matthew, the question you asked about visibility, can you provide a little bit of more clarity on it? That's all. And guess what that does? That tells the speaker that you were listening to the conversation. It also tells the speaker that you are interested in the conversation. It lets your voice your voice is heard, people see you, and it doesn't, that is not something that will cause you any embarrassment or anything. It's just asking somebody to elaborate on a point that he or she has made. Another thing you could say is, I want to add to the contribution of a previous speaker. So somebody has said something, you could also write on top of that and make a further contribution. So those two things alone can give you, more visibility within your organization when it comes to meetings. A third thing you could do is also volunteer. Is there a committee? Is there an assignment? Is there something that the organization is working on? Can you volunteer to support that initiative? Because that, again, depending on who is in that committee, for example, they need help in a particular area, can you volunteer to support that initiative? It will give you some more visibility. So we need visibility outside of the organization. We also need visibility within the organization as well. All of this is, putting together, making you a thought leader, making you recognized in your field of endeavor, letting people know that, yes, you are capable, you're competent, and you have value to offer.
Thank you very much, Lady Shara, for that. And I think that's been very, very insightful and impactful, right? Because if you're following with us in the whole conversation, there's a direction which we've all discussed. From when you start, when you come out not knowing anything, when you try to feel stuck, what you should do, how you can navigate from feeling stuck, how you can also, find yourself serving others, not only being the one to serve, right? But not only being the one to waiting to be served, but you can also serve others. And that way it can also put you at a spotlight and, advance your career from where you started. And what might probably take you 3 years, 4 years, 5 years to learn, just by simple service can, put you out there faster than what you might even think of. And as we've also touched point on the global readiness, right? How you can also make yourself visible, not only on LinkedIn, but even where you're also working, right? Because you need to balance this up. Because as much as possible, just like you've heard the guest say, your visibility on LinkedIn might also transform your work process at the office, because probably what you said, your boss might probably go see it, find interest in it and see you as someone who can probably reason, who might be equal to a particular task that you might not even imagine. But just by simple steps, simple exercises, simple applications or implementations of things, or asking questions, right, you can always stand out and ensure success and ensure a good career growth. And most importantly, being able to map your journey. So I just want to get on the next question here, talking about how you can identify real opportunities, right? Because you've gotten yourself ready, you've mapped out your roadmap, right? And you're now seeing how you can, navigate and not feel stuck, right? So how do you identify these opportunities? When you go out there, how do you spot that this opportunity might be for me? And if I apply for it, or if I should jump on it, if I should comment on this, right, it might speak for my personal brand and also elevate my brand beyond now, but maybe for the next 2 years, 1 year, 1 month, 1 week, you never know when the opportunity might fall in place, really share place. Might not be right for me, but how do you see that this is something, if you can get on board for it to, support your career?
Okay, so I would say first and foremost, you need to be prepared for that opportunity, right? Success will happen when preparation meets opportunity. If you're not prepared when the opportunity arises, you will not be able to deliver. So how prepared are you, and what do we need to do to be prepared? So one would always have your portfolio up to date, your portfolio, your CV, or wherever you are recording your accomplishments and achievements. And that was why I said, keep a dossier of your activities, because when it is needed, you have it handy to produce and to talk about. So prepare yourself, be ready for that opportunity when it arises. We've talked about personal branding. What does your LinkedIn page look like? You need to update it regularly. If you have a personal website, you need to update that regularly. I've talked about your CV, update it regularly. Have all of these things in place. So when the opportunity does come, yes, you're positioned to seize it and present yourself, all the things you need. If someone says, send me your profile before close of business, how fast can you get it across? Some of us would have to use 2 days to update it. And by that time, the opportunity might have gone. So be prepared, put all your portfolios and everything in place. The second thing I would say you also need to do is how quickly can you pivot? How quickly can you meet any requirement that the opportunity might need, for example? So using this platform right now, you approached me and said, would I like to be a panelist on this forum? Now, I could say yes, because I'm prepared. Intellectually, I'm prepared. Experience-wise, I'm prepared. But if I'm not prepared, it wouldn't be easy for me to say yes, I want to come on and talk about my experience, my history, and whatever. So how quickly can you deliver, so to say, on that opportunity if it arises? Do you have structures in place that can help you? Do you have, depending on what the opportunity is, do you have templates in place? How quickly can you execute? All of these things are important. So you need to go back and ask yourself, what things do I need if this opportunity comes? Begin to imagine the kind of opportunity that you're looking for. If I get an opportunity in my desired job, how quickly can I move and seize that opportunity? What would I need to meet up with that opportunity? And do I have it in place? So my summary for that would be prepare yourself, because it is preparation that when it meets opportunity that will give you the success. Prepare in silence, prepare underground, prepare when no one is looking, because when opportunity comes, you can stand ready to deliver.
Thank you for that. Ayo, please.
When we're talking about opportunity, you can't say you're going to step into an opportunity or something comes up without have something to deliver. And I think I'm going to go back to what Lydia Shayov actually said. You need to be prepared. That's number one. But let's bring it back to workplace now. If there's any project that is actually taking place in your workplace, even though you don't have any experience in that job, and you know that maybe your boss want to do it or somebody else that is superior to you want to do the job, you can even say, okay, can I join you in doing this project? One, it will be an opportunity for you to learn. Number two, you position yourself as somebody that is actually ready to move to the next level, because when you work with someone who is superior to you, you will be learning from that person. And you position yourself as well as somebody that's already helped to complete that project. So even though you don't have the enough knowledge to complete that project, but the mere fact that you actually step out to say, can I help to complete this project? You're actually positioning yourself, I would say, in that respect. That's number one. Number two is also to go back to what Lady Sherry have said earlier on, is volunteering. If you know you have the competency to do the job and they say, oh, we want to embark on this particular project, and you know you have the ability to execute and to complete it, rather than stepping back, say, oh, I can't do it, I can't do this, I've got that. Stepping out to do it, you position yourself as well. It's an opportunity, because people will say, who has actually done it? You're going to be you. And at the end of the day, you're actually compiling a kind of portfolio for yourself as well of the things you're doing. The other one that we mentioned is about innovating. It doesn't have to be a big thing. When we're talking about innovation, we can think about increasing efficiency, the effectiveness of what we're doing. It doesn't have to be big thing. Okay. It can actually be the experience that the customers are actually going to receive. You understand? So bringing innovation is another way to position ourselves to ensure that when opportunity comes, we can actually tap into it. And there's one thing that normally I would normally say, you got to be very adventurous as well. Be curious, know what is going on within your organization. If you're not, gathering those data, I mentioned about data doesn't mean that they're 1, 2, 3, but things that's going on around you. I'll give an example, just for myself. That was in 2019. There was a program. They just put it out there, oh, anybody wants to go into this program? And it came out in the newsletter bulletin for the trust. And I saw it. Number one, I'm a physiotherapist. I don't even think I probably will even get the opportunity of doing it. But assuming I'm not reading and I'm not even taking the initiative, I just said, yeah, I'll go for it. And I apply. Even my manager at that time was saying, oh, you won't be able to get this thing because there's nurses applying for it. I said, I won't get that to discourage me. So what I'm trying to say in this essence is that you got to be, know what is going around, information that is actually there. And I applied and I was able to get the thing for 3 years. I got the whole thing sponsored. My transport was paid when I'm traveling from home to the university. I got my study leave, for that 3 years. And at the end of it as well, you got to be promoted. Can you get my point there? So you got to move and be, your tentacles, your antennas have to be out there. What is actually going on here that I can actually fit myself into? But if you're just, things are moving by your side, right and left, and you're not really conversant of what's going on, then you miss the opportunity. So that ability to be able to be sensitive to what is going on around us is really important. So those are the 4 points that I'll just try to add to what I've been said.
Okay, so before I come to Lady Share, because it looks like she has something she would like to share, can you list out the 4 points you just mentioned accordingly by points?
You mean myself?
Yes.
Okay. I said stepping out, that's number one. You don't have the experience. There's a project that is going to go on within your organization. You can team up with somebody who's experienced or somebody that's been in job and they've done it 20 times. So can I join you? your name will be on the people that have actually completed the project. You understand? You position yourself. And when you're writing your CV, you can write it there. I help to complete this. That's number one. And if you got the competency to complete it, why staying behind? If you know the capacity, I'm not saying you got to overwork yourself at the same time. You got to balance things up. You know, if you got something doing and you're going to know that it's going to affect you, I'm not saying you should do those kind of stuff. But if you know you have the ability to do it, then you step out and do it. You're building your portfolio of what you've been able to do. Number 3 is be innovative. I won't say this, but it's what they call a team wood. You know, just efficiency. Okay, can we reduce the time that this is actually going to cost us here? Is there any other way we can actually bring this thing out? Is there a template you find somewhere that you think if you introduce into the service, into the work you're doing, that will make things better? You know, your position is, oh, who actually brought this thing? It's just a little thing. That was it's so that brought this thing to the team. You're doing yourself a favor and you bring innovation. And I said innovation doesn't mean to be big thing, just little things that you bring in that brings efficiency, effectiveness, or probably save cost as well. You know, save money. So those are the things you got to be thinking of. And for your own good as well, you got to think of, oh, what's going on here within the organization? What are the development opportunities that are here that can tap into? And if you are not the type that is actually, you know, reading like the bulletin, like I said, that opportunity came. I saw it through the bulletin in the trust. And I was able to say, yeah, I'm going for it. I go for it and I applied. And at the end of the day, I was able to get it. Assuming I'm not being aware of what's going on around me, you know, that data here and there that is coming here and there within your organization, and you're not picking it up and you're not processing it, things will go by and you will miss those kind of opportunities. So those are the 4 things that I actually listed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ayo, for that, for breaking those 4 points down again. Lisha, it looks like you have something wanted to add.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to you know, buttress the point of preparation, meeting opportunity, and I'll give you a story. When personal computers first came out, and this was a long time ago.
Okay.
You know, now everybody has a computer, everybody has a laptop. Once upon a time, we did not have laptops, believe it or not. We did not have computers. And I was working in audit then, and we used to have these worksheets that look like Excel. You can imagine, but physical paper now. You know how Excel sheets, you have columns and rows. Now imagine it a physical paper. It was 22 rows, 14 columns. That was what we used. And if the rows and columns are not enough, we would join the paper together to make it longer. Sometimes you can join 10 sheets together. So you can imagine a 10 sheets with figures from column 1 to column 100. And we had to use a calculator to add it together. It was a nightmare. Anyway, the computers just started coming out then. And I remember that I taught myself how to use the computer. Nobody in my office knew how to use, nobody had a computer, talk less of knowing how to use it. But I remember that our colleagues in Pitmawick, is it Pitmawick now? No, they were not, it was Akintola Williams. We were doing a joint audit with Akintola Williams. So my colleagues in Akintola Williams had a PC in the office that even the Akintola Williams people did not know how to use. It was just there. Nobody used it. So I used to come into the office very early before they arrived. I got permission from them and I would log on in the days of floppy disco and I would start experimenting until I could use the computer. So what I did was I got my long spreadsheet of 20 pages. I put it on Excel and then I prepared my accounts on Excel and then linked it to Word. And so I could write the reports, change all the figures in the report because all the figures were linked to Excel. And I changed the reports and I was able to do that. I was able to use the computer that all my colleagues, nobody knew how to use it. And I remember that when I left that particular client, there was no access to computer again. So I told the secretary in my office that I'm going to go back to using the sheets since I don't have a computer. And I remember he said something, he said, he just went into the office, to the partner's office. And I don't know what he told the partner, but he brought out the only computer that we had in the office then that belonged to the partner. He brought out the partner's laptop and he gave it to me. That was how I was a junior staff then. That was how I got to use my own I had my own laptop. I had it before the managers and the seniors and the others, the managers, supervisors, and all the seniors that were ahead of me, they didn't get it, but I got it. How did I get it? Because I prepared myself. I went ahead to train myself. So what am I saying here? Ladies and gentlemen, today we're talking about what? AI. How prepared are you? How are you leveraging on the technology or the new things that are happening in today's world? Because a time will come when those skills are required. And it is those that have the skill that can quickly take up whatever opportunities are out there. So just like Ayo mentioned, he said, is your manager, your leader, or somebody in your team, are they doing something? Can you join and learn from what they're doing? What can you join? What can you do to improve yourself, upskill yourself? What opportunities are there? He also mentioned about a training opportunity. So within your organization, what opportunities are available? Don't wait. Don't overthink it. Seize those opportunities. Get that training. Train yourself. Don't wait. Even if your organization is not training you, don't wait for them. Buy the course if you have to. Spend your money instead of spending money on a 200,000 naira a week. And what have we? What are the boys? The boys buy the latest iPhone 20. That phone, you will buy phones. Don't worry, you're going to buy the latest phone and tech. That money, can you invest it in yourself? Learn, prepare yourself, position yourself, get the skills that are needed so that when opportunity knocks, you are set and you are ready to seize it.
All right. So before I think we're running out of time, and before I go to the last question, right? I just wanted to quickly mention to us, Lady Shayo, just referencing your conversation, right? What are some of these? What are the top 3 skills you think in mind, right? That our listeners here should prioritize while they leave this conversation today?
Well, top 3 skills. I wouldn't say that there's a fixed top 3 skills. I would say it largely depends on your industry. However, tech.
No. Aside industry aside, just you as a person.
Obviously, tech is going to be the first skill. Again, what level of tech and how you apply tech will also vary depending on where we sit. I am not a technical person per se. I'm not into Python and coding and what have. However, again, you cannot ignore the fact that you must understand tech to a certain level. We must begin to understand AI, and more importantly, how can we apply AI to our daily activities? And it has to go beyond using Copilot as a search engine, so to say. It has to go beyond that. How can I apply AI to make my work smarter, to make myself more efficient, to get, to work smarter, to be more efficient, to be more accurate, to be more on top of my game? So my ability to apply tech to what I do on a daily basis is a critical skill that every one of us have to understand and apply. We've heard people say that, oh, AI is going to take your jobs. Yes, it will take some jobs, but guess what? New jobs will be created. New jobs will be created. New skills will be required. So the question is, how can you position yourself with these new skills to remain relevant in a world that is constantly changing? And I just gave you an example of how I learned to use the computer before my colleagues. So immediately that positions me, above everybody else because I was able to use, tech. So they say, and it's the same, it will always be like that. Who are the people that can use it? I understand that now, even organizations, when you go for interview, they're actually interviewing people on their ability to use AI.
Yeah.
So, so if you don't know how to use it, or you've already lost the battle right from the point of interview. So yes, I think that's one of the critical skills that you need. The second thing is innovation and creativity. You have to be very, very innovative. The world today is so dynamic, and people are coming up with so many creative ways of doing things. So how creative and innovative are you? How can you develop that skill of being innovative in there's no hard and fast rule to it, but how can you apply that creativity and innovativeness in what you're doing? That will be the second skill. And the third thing I think will be critical thinking and decision making. How can you take data and make critical decisions? How can you apply that data, to make the right decision and, you know, how do I put it, scientifically support the decision that has been made. Again, you're going to still lean back on your tech skills as well. So you can see that the three kind of go hand in hand, but I would say those are the first three things that today's generation needs to develop.
Right. Thank you very much, Lady Shah, for expanding on that. And Ayo, please, you have something you'd like to add to that?
I mean, in terms of skills, I think AI definitely will be one thing that we cannot just put behind. It's something that has come to stay. So for us as individual, we need to be able to familiarize ourselves with how to use it, most especially the generative AI, which means that it's not just saying, asking questions or whatever, but being able to use it to create some other information. That's one aspect. The other thing I would like to say also, more especially if we're looking towards getting to higher level, one need to develop leadership skills. Is really important. Developing leadership skills means that because you got to think of managing and leading other team members, but if you haven't got that skills, then it will be really difficult to be able to get that opportunity to lead a team. And if at all you get the opportunity to lead the team, then the team will not be able to perform to the optimum level that they should be able to perform. So for us, I would say as we're growing in whatever position, even if it's just at the first entry level we are, we need to start developing that skill, that leadership skill. We need to start building it up, and it will serve us well at the end of the day. So those are the two things I've mentioned. The AI is not going anywhere. We've got to make sure that we flow with it. Because I remember when I was in uni, we were trying to, when we were doing a project, we were using, I mean, we have to give it to this business center that they were using typewriters.
Ah, you remember? in fact, it was a nightmare. And then we had to actually go to the library, and open books and read and write. So there was nothing like plagiarism, because you actually had to write. You guys are enjoying now. It's so easy.
And I remember that, and they were saying that we can't submit with typewriter. I've forgotten the word, but you have to use computer to print out. So, and these people that, I mean, in uni then, there are only few of this business center that could use computer. A lot of people were just queuing in their own, you know, in their, what's it called, the business center, because they are the only one that are able to do it. So what I'm trying to say is that I don't know what this AI will turn into, but at least if we start preparing ourselves and getting ourselves prepared, we'll be able to be in a good position wherever we find ourselves in future. And the leadership area is something that we need to, whether we like it or not, we need to, I'm not saying we definitely need to be a leader, but in any situation, you got to be able to lead team. If you can lead team, how will you be able to deliver? There's a project, you won't do the job by yourself, you got to work with other people. So you got to have that leadership skills. There's a lot of things that go into that, but I think we need to start learning that at whatever level we have. That's just those two skills I would say we need to start developing.
All right. Thank you very much, Ayo and Lady Shire, for those insights. And we just have just one last question, which we're just going to take, and that'll be very quick and brief. Before we move to the Q&A, because I see there are lots of people here, lots of the attendees here have questions and posing questions they might want to bring to our attention. So, and I just want to quickly add that one of the important skills before the last question, which you should also prioritize, is ability to be a good communicator, know how to communicate. Once you're able to understand the tech and AI innovation and creativity, right, and you have the critical thinking, your leadership skills, but also know how to communicate, especially if you're going into the global market, you're working with cross-cultural teams from different locations or regions, right? So I just want us to, I want our guests to give us an action statement, right, which we can all live here with. So I would come with Lady Shire saying, what is that one action, right, that every listener here or attendee here should take right, to put themselves visible, that they can take today to make themselves visible or stand out or valuable in whatever they're doing, or as they progress in their career?
Well, that one statement, that people can remain visible.
Yes.
You're making me bring it down into one statement. Okay. I would say continuously be proactive, right? You need to run your life like you're running a business. Run your life with as much intention, planning, strategy as your life. Run it as a business. You understand? Be intentional and run your life as a business. Everything you would do as a business, you have objectives, you would have evaluation at the end of the year or at the end of the quarter, you would have a plan, all of the things that you would have in a business. Run your life like a business. Be innovative and be creative. Be aware of the things that are happening around you and continuously position yourself. You have to be nimble, you have to be agile, and you have to quickly adapt to change. Learn to quickly adapt to change, because changes will come. We're talking AI. Tomorrow, some new thing will happen. How quickly can you adapt? How quickly can you change in order to remain relevant in today's world? So that would be my statement. Run your life like a business. Be intentional about it, and learn to be nimble and adapt to change.
Thank you for that, Felicia. Ayo, please.
Should I say? It's a difficult one, but I'll put it this way. Show your face. That's just simple. If you don't show your face, whether at work, at meeting, showing your face means speaking up. Where there's any opportunity that is coming up, like I said earlier on, like project, show your face. So showing your face is being visible, being seen. Because if you don't, you'll be left behind. And I would say that face, if you allow me, I will just put into something that people can actually use to remember. F will mean your organization goal. You need to be very conversant with it. You know your what's it called? Any team, any organization they're working. What is their mission? What's their objective? You need to know it. You're showing your face in that. Number two, you got to be authentic. No. Don't come to say I'm this when you're not that. The C of it will be to connect with other people. Networking is really important. And your E, your expertise, you got to demonstrate it. So you got to show your face. If you don't show your face, you'll just be behind the scene. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ayo, for that. And I hope we all found this very valuable. That brings us to our Q&A. But I just want to quickly summarize what we've heard on the panel discussion today. Like we've heard, the conversation today is more of a path. So if you follow it closely, it's a career path where from where you start, from where you don't even know what you're doing, to where you have that realization, you have a roadmap, right? And to where you're now heading to, and to even now, when you finally get this opportunity you've been looking out for, how you should actually, engage with this opportunity so it doesn't just come and go. You always get slippery hands, right? So you don't have slippery hands. If an opportunity comes, you can still hold it and hold it for long term, right? Because of how you build it, from network, from collaborations, from the engagement, from how you speak, and from the different things you do. So as much as possible, we just want to say thank you to our guests who've been able to, dissect those discussions clearly for every one of us who are attending today. So this is the time for the Q&A. If you have any question, you can either leave in the comments, or you can as well just turn on or open, just raise your hands right now, and I'll allow you to speak or ask your questions to any of the guests.
You're welcome. Okay, so we have someone here that has dropped a question. Someone by the name of, let me look at that. Okay, faithfulness. Okay, so the question goes like this. It says, how do you switch careers? What are the steps to take to successfully switch from one profession to another? Who among our panelists would like to take that question, Lady Shayo or Ayo, would like to go ahead and take that question. Lady Shayo, would you want to go ahead and answer the question?
Please repeat the question.
Okay, let me go ahead and repeat that. How do you switch careers? What are the steps to take to successfully switch from one profession to another?
Okay, so yeah, first and foremost, start where you are. You're trying to switch to another profession. So the first question is, what certifications would you require in that particular profession? So for example, I'm an accountant and I want to switch into graphic design. What skills do I currently have in the area of graphic design? Can I design anything? Is it just I have an interest in graphic design? So the first thing you would probably do behind the scenes before you begin to apply for jobs in graphic design is to acquire the necessary skills in that space. The second thing you can do when you have acquired those skills, you need to be able to demonstrate that you can actually use the skills. Now you are currently in accounting. If you start applying for jobs immediately in graphic design, anybody looking at your CV is going to be confused and is going to be like, you have no skill, or how can you leave accounting and come and do graphic design? So what I would suggest is, while you're doing the training in graphic design, look for who you can volunteer for. Can you volunteer in your church to do some graphic design for them? Do you have friends who need graphic design? Do you have friends who own a business that you can have, look, let me come and do graphic designs for your company free of charge? What do you need? You need their references, and you need to demonstrate that you have acquired that skill and you are good enough for you to do something for a business. And if you're really good, they might start paying you for it. You could even graduate from there and do something on the side in that space. So by the time you do all of that, you have gained experience, you've gained traction, you now have people that can, you've got referees who will, give you, what do you call it now? Give you references of the good work you have done in graphic design. You can now add all of that to your CV and begin to apply for jobs in graphic design. Again, because you're switching careers, you might not be able to get on the same level in this new career or the new, because you're coming into it newly. Don't be offended at that. Don't feel that, oh, I'm already a senior manager as an accountant, I want to be a senior manager, in graphic design. You might not start at senior management. You might have to come down a little bit. You might have to take a salary cut because you're going into a new space, but you don't need to stay there long. The idea is get into the space, after a couple of, maybe a year or two, you can apply for something higher. So yeah, that would be my suggestion. And I've seen a lot of people do it. I have successfully done it. So yeah, it's possible.
Thank you so much for sharing that. So in retrospect, if you're switching careers, you need to learn the skill of the new aspect of the new career that you're about to switch into, connect with those that are already there, learn from them, see what you can gain, the experiences, the knowledge that you can derive from them. If necessary, volunteer, get involved one way or the other so that you can acquire the skill, you can get the knowledge, and also be humble, because when you like you said, Lady Shaya, when you're switching a career, you might have to start from scratch compared to wherever or whatever position you were at with your previous career. So thank you so much for sharing that, Lady Shaya. Mr. Ayo, do you want to comment or a few comments here and there on that particular question?
I think what I would have covered has already been said by Lady Shayo. When you're talking about any job, three things you're looking at. You're looking at knowledge, skills, and competency. Yeah. If you've got your job that you're doing currently, yeah, those three things is that you start getting the knowledge while you're still presently working whatever job you're doing. So you're acquiring the knowledge that you've got to have. Number two would be the experience, like she's rightly said. If you, for example, you are looking into going into graphic design, or you want to become like a programmer, you've got to start doing some jobs and collecting your portfolios or wherever you're going to demonstrate as your experience. By doing those, you're developing your competency as well. And when you want to go into the market, whatever we'll be looking for or want to employ you, they'll be looking for those three things. Do you have the knowledge for that job you want to do? Do you have the experience? And you'll be able to demonstrate it. So for knowledge, it will be your certification, if there's any certification in that particular field that you need to acquire. So that means that you should have got that one in your current job, because you don't want to jump doing what you're doing and say, okay, because I want to switch. So while you're doing whatever you're doing, acquire the knowledge, the experience wherever possible. Whether it's going to be like a volunteering, you got to try and do those one. While you're doing those two, your competency will be improving, and whoever is going to employ or hire you will be looking for those three things. So you being able to do those things alongside whatever you're doing will be the best way to do it. Unfortunately, it all depends on the kind of job you want to switch into as well. For example, if you want to go into law or you want to do medicine, I don't think you're going to be able to do it, because that means that you got to leave one.
That's an entire industry switch.
So yeah, so you got to look at those areas as well to be able to determine, okay, is it a totally different field that there's not going to be a kind of switch over period for me to do it? And people do it, because I know some of my colleagues, I mean, not my colleagues, there's actually a senior then in uni that actually was a physio, eventually went back to do medicine, and is actually currently a neurologist consultant in UK. So he sacrificed almost like 5 years to go back to do something else. You understand? So it all depends on what you want to do. So if it's something that you know you can do it alongside whatever you're doing presently, then those three things that I mentioned, you'll be doing it alongside and be acquiring it. Your certification is doing it. Your experience, you start getting it, whether volunteering or you start building your portfolio, wherever you're going to use to demonstrate those knowledge and skills, then your competency that will come into place. So that would be the way I would just approach it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ayo. I mean, that makes a lot of sense, because some people might make the mistake of thinking that for them, for them, if they're going to be switching, then they might just be jumping ship or leaving the job that they're in at that point. But that doesn't have to be done. So while you are in the job or whatever you're doing, whatever experience or whatever career you are in at a particular time, you can build experience and knowledge on the aspects that you want to switch into, so you don't end up shooting yourself. So at the end of the day, the goal is to build experience, because that's one thing that businesses or companies or HRs or organizations look out for when they are bringing in or when they are employing new candidates. They want to know how much experience that you've gathered. So getting that knowledge, getting that skill, volunteering here and there is very important, very useful. Thank you so much, Lady Shayo and Ayo, for your answers to those questions. We have Courage. Courage, her hand is up. Okay, Courage, please go ahead and ask your question. First of all, Courage, sorry, before you go ahead and ask your question, let's just quickly confirm. Faithfulness, are you satisfied with the answers? Or do you need are you good with the answers? Are your questions being properly answered, or do you have any other thing that you want to say? All right, you're satisfied. Fantastic, great. Okay, Courage, please go ahead.
All right. First of all, I want to thank the panelists for this wonderful section, because I actually learned a lot. Okay, so the question I want to ask, this has actually been like a pressing issue for me. Actually, I'm currently in my my early career years, but it's more like career conflicts, how to tackle career conflicts. Because initially, if I can remember properly, actually learned a skill, that's a tech skill. Then from there, I had to transition tech skill. So my issue now is how to really tackle these career conflicts, because I won't say, okay, actually have interest in doing this, and also I have another interest in doing this. It also got to a point that I had to ask someone if it's possible for me to make my LinkedIn in such a way that I can actually do the two things at the same time. But that person said, no, I have to focus on one. So how can one tackle that career conflict? Or should I just focus on one and leave the other one alone? Because actually I have certification in that other career. So it's more like, it's very confusing for me.
Sorry, you said you had career conflict.
Yeah.
What are the, if you don't mind mentioning the conflict? I mean,
Okay, yeah, I can. Yeah, I can.
okay.
Earlier, I actually learned about product design, that's UI UX. Then
Okay.
from there, I noticed that, okay, as a UI UX designer, to get clients, somehow difficult, stuff like that. And as at then, I didn't really have, I actually learned the skill, I have this education, but I didn't really have like a system. So I had to transition to be like a virtual assistant because I felt, okay, this one is much more easier and I can also navigate through before I get a system. So that was actually the main reason why I had to transition.
So what
But
are you
then
doing
when now I'm actually working as a virtual assistant. That's aside schooling, that's in the tech space. I'm working as a virtual assistant. But then I wanted to know if it's possible to merge being a UI UX designer and also a virtual assistant together. I don't know if it's possible.
Okay, I would say it is, although they are totally unrelated, you know, they're totally unrelated. However, somehow you might find a creative way of bringing the two together. Where do you see yourself? What's your own plan for your life? Do you want to, so the question is, how do you grow as a virtual assistant vis-a-vis how do you grow as a, what do you call it, UI, XI, whatever programmer?
Designer. UI, UX designer.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you, so where do you, which of these two options do you plan to progress, so to say? I know you're doing virtual assistant because it's easier and you need money, right? But is it something that you want to do long term? Do you have a long-term plan for it? Or do you want to navigate back to your programming?
Courage, you're mute.
Okay, yeah, I heard the question. Oh, well, actually, one thing about virtual UI UX, that's product design, that's more like a long-term role. So even despite the fact that I learned, I still have to do continuous learning. So along the run, like for a long-term role, product designing is actually going to be better. But for now, the way I see myself now, I feel virtual assistants would actually be better. So I don't know, it's more like it's very confusing for me. I don't know if I should just drop the product designing and all that, where and just focus on the one I have now currently doing.
Okay, David has raised his hand. I'm sure he has something to say because it's about.
Yeah, I raised my hand because I can somewhat relate to the thing, because I mean, first 4 or 5 years of my career, I was writing code, and now I'm talking business. So that middle is usually a confusing time, right? For some people, you describe yourself as an engineer. For some other people, you describe yourself as a business person. So I'd say you'd be better off looking forward than looking backward.
Exactly.
So I'd like to imagine, think that you have a source of income in virtual assistance already. Maybe you have 1 or 2 clients you're already supporting. So it's not like you're looking for more clients. And if you're looking for more clients, it just means that you're not looking to progress on product designing. So if you have 1 or 2 clients that can basically pay the bills now, I'd say just gradually take the virtual assistance off your profile, then front the design. And fronting design is quite easy on social media because design is favorable to social media people. I mean, social media rather is favorable to design people because it's visual. You do like 30 days of design. You design stuff like each day, how I would reimagine the GT Bank mobile app, or how I would imagine the Lemfi app, or how I would redesign the moonshot event. Like you just putting out your work, it makes it quite easy for people to see you. So you exhibiting that stuff, like it doesn't cost anything to do it. It's free. Posting that often is free, and then you are still taking care of your current virtual assistants clients on the back end. I mean, you can also assist people virtually in design. How do you thought about that?
Exactly.
Yeah, just making sure that you are looking forward and not looking backward, while ensuring that you still maintain what is paying your bills.
Yeah, I would. That was why I was asking. What's your future plan? So if you want to navigate back to design, David has very adequately captured what you should do. You can definitely maintain what you're doing now because it pays the bills, but you can gradually navigate back and maybe start taking on clients in the design space. And when you have enough clients in design, you can drop the virtual assistants.
You don't mind me asking a question? Is that Courage?
Yes, Courage.
Courage. The question I actually want to ask you is, what stage are you at in your career? And the reason I'm asking that question, are you still studying? That's one area. You don't need to answer my question. Are you still studying? Yeah. Are you still in school? That's number one. What are you studying? That's number two. What are you doing currently? That is this virtual assistant and the UI or UX, whatever that you're doing. That's another thing. If you're talking about virtual assistants can come in, it cut across so many things.
Yeah.
You understand? It cut across so many things. It's not just a career on its own. You can be virtual assistants for a doctor doing transcription of whatever they dictated in the clinic. That's one. So you're just working remotely. Virtual is just helping someone. And if you know that this is actually helping you to pay your bills, you understand? I wouldn't say I would leave that particular, whatever that is bringing money in to support you. So I'll carry on doing it. And the other one that is actually product design or product, let's just say product design. Permit me to use that word, product design.
Yeah, it's product design, yeah.
Yeah. So if that is what you want to do at the end of the day, that's okay. Maybe in the next 2-3 years, I want to be one of the top product designers in the world or in Nigeria. You don't need to put that aside. No, you carry on working at it, developing yourself, while you're using the little money that's coming from your virtual assistants to support yourself. You understand? And you got to look at the money that's coming in is going to help you to offset so many things, bills. So I would say, if you got your current clientele or your clients that you're working with, maintain it with that virtual assistants and try to start building what you want to be known for. You start building it now. You won't get there tomorrow. You understand? But use a process and you'll build it gradually until you'll be able to achieve it. So if you think product design is what you want to do, I won't leave it. I won't just say, yeah, because I've got conflict. There's no conflict of interest at all for me. I'm a physiotherapist. Yeah, I still do other things at the same time.
Exactly.
You understand? But what I will market myself will still be I'm a physiotherapist. And I'll tell you, I'm ACP, which means Advanced Clinical Practitioner. So outside physiotherapy, I'm doing something else that is actually recognized as well. In addition to that, I'm doing something else. But the core things, I will never neglect that. If you ask me, I'm a physiotherapist. Even my current role is ACP. I will tell people I'm still physiotherapy because I'm doing something different. But my core thing is still physiotherapy. So just be able to know exactly which one will pay you off at the end of the day, which will give you the best. You know, virtual assistant, there's a limit to amount of money you'll be able to gain, you know. But it all depends as well. If you're doing something else that probably pay $100 per hour, that's a different story. But if you know the amount you're earning at the moment is $20 compared to product design, they pay more with product design. I will try to go for that. At the end of the day, I will make sure that whatever will take me, I will work towards that, achieving those things, getting the competency, getting the knowledge, getting the experience, build my portfolio by the side, and I'll just do it. So that's just my own advice. You can combine the two. If you know one is paying your bill, I will carry on doing that. But 2-3 years down the line, I will just leave the virtual assistant because I know eventually it won't give me the maximum in terms of hourly rates that will be paid. Thank you.
That's a very powerful take, though. Yeah, Titus, are you good?
Yes. I got disconnected.
Oh, okay. Those are very, very powerful take, and I think Courage left the call, and I wish she was back here. I just want to quickly just add to what the guests have already mentioned, right? Because much of this has been explained. There's always that conflicting interest with either going for easy, right? Easy, yeah. You always hear what do you call it? As easy as it comes, easy goes, easy come, easy goes, right? Easy come, easy go. So you don't want to find yourself doing easy things, simple things, easy things, simple things. The work is in going for what you know can give you long-term value, long-term sustainability, long-term plan, right? And you don't just want to build your career or your life because tomorrow you want to have a family, you want to start something, you want to advance forward, right? So if you have something that is currently paying you, stay at it and use it as a leverage, as you've heard, to to guide you through learning other things on the side, upskilling. You don't really have to tell everybody out there what you're learning every time, but personally, this is you building yourself for tomorrow, building yourself for when you might not have this job again, so that you can, find yourself in this space. I think you just joined, right? So I think this is majorly for everyone who is actually on this call because some might be having these challenges, and you might not really say it, but as much as possible, you find where you're getting your pay, no matter how small it is, get it, stay there, use it as a leverage while you plan for a long-term career plan or long-term career map so that it can work for you. Hazan, please, you want to ask a question? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, all right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It has really been mind blowing. And so, like you said, I've actually learned from it, from the question she asked, because I'm a student and then a fashion designer as well. So I've been thinking about it because I actually want to build my niche in children clothing. So I've been thinking of it like because I actually know how to sew children clothes and then as well as adult clothes. So prior to this time, I was thinking, should I just dump the adult clothes I'm sewing currently and then just focus on the niche? But because I don't have the client I need now because I'm not so visible to them. I'm in the hostel. The people I have around me are students, and I've not been able to properly reach my clients. So it was so difficult for me. I was thinking whether I should just draw because the long-term goal is to build a children clothing brand. But then right now, I don't even have any clients that wants to sew children clothes. So it has been very difficult. And I think from what you just said, you've helped me. So I can just be working on the one I'm doing right now and then build for the future. Thank you so much.
And I think just to add to that, Temi Lolua, you are actually very well positioned because you're in the hostel. You sell clothes, you sew clothes for fellow students, right? These students are going to get married, aren't they? These students will have children, won't they? So this is the time you can build that connection, build your network. Because if you're sewing clothes beautifully well for the mothers and the fathers, by the time, all of you finish school, people get married and start having children, guess what? You can equally market to them and tell them that, oh, I now have a children's brand. And because you have already built that competency, you have demonstrated your skill and your expertise in sewing adult clothes, they're definitely going to patronize you for children's clothes as well, and also become your ambassadors. So yeah, begin to put your long-term plan in place.
All right, thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Linshire, for that. And I don't know if there's any other question, but I think we would need to draw it close to that, and we'll move into the breakout session. So this is the rule of the breakout session. We'll spread everybody across 3 different rooms where you're going to join in. You would have Titus will be there. I will be there in one of the rooms, and then you also have Praise. Praise is going to moderate. Praise Benson is going to moderate one of the rooms for us because Kira is not here. So Lady Shayo is going to be in one of the room, likewise Ayo, and likewise David. So wherever you find yourself, much of these conversations, much of these questions, you can also ask them. Get yourself acquainted and familiarized with the guests. Ask every question you might want to ask. So that room will last for 20 minutes, after which we would come back and we'll share final information before we wrap up this event today. So I just want to say thank you very much to the panelists. Thank you very much to everyone who has been able to contribute. If you've not been able to answer all the questions, we have the WhatsApp community. So send in all your questions to the WhatsApp community. We'll do well to, share these questions to the guests for them to respond, and then we'll send back feedback. And over time, there will be other community engagements which we would engage you guys with in the community. But for now, we will just draw it to close and say thank you very much, Ayo and Lady Shayo, for all the insights you've been able to share for the past 1 hour plus. So we'll be moving into the breakout room now. And so we'll see you guys now. So once you join in, the link might take you out. So after the call, you have to click back to the first link, which is this very call room link, so that you can just come back to it again. So don't forget, once you're in the breakout session, once it's done, the timer is going to end the call. Then you just click back the first link which you joined here with to come back to the general room before we finalize this. Encourage you have a question or you have a feedback from the room you shared. I think we just take 1 or 2 persons from each room. Then you can then let us know what you were able to share with the guests. Okay, we'll take from Nasiba then. Nasiba, I see your hands are up. You can go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed today's session. It was insightful and educational. So I had a lot of questions I wanted to ask during the breakout session, but I did not know the breakout session will have to end that early. So I don't know if it is best for me to ask the question now.
Please go ahead with your question.
Okay. So one of my questions is, as a student, how do you navigate technology and career paths? Because there are a lot of things, and how do you make it generate income? We are talking about learning skills. How do you know, okay, this is the skill I'm meant to learn? Or do you have to just try out all skills before you know the one that will work best for you? For example, I'm studying accounting, and I'm looking for how technology would advance, like would make accounting process easier. So I'm looking at, is it data analysis, cybersecurity, project management? Which of them would help accounting and accountants? So I don't know how to navigate that, how to start up. I just want the speakers, if they can help me find clarity or just explain better. Thank you.
Okay.
Sure, you want to go?
Yeah,
Please
because
go ahead.
I started with accounting anyway. My background is accounting. Then I switched into strategy, and then I'm now in change management. So yeah. So the truth of the matter is that technology is wide, very wide. And then you said which of the different technological skills are best. So I mean, all of them are good. The question is, where do you start? So I would always say start from where you are with what you have. Okay. So you're an accountant, start there, you're an accountant. I would suggest that within your space, you're an accountant, you're reading accountancy. The first thing is, do you know how to use accounting software? That would be my first, because your ability to use accounting software is a business on its own. Do you know how many people are looking for accountants to help them write up their books because they can't write up the books themselves? So, and then secondly, if you know how to use any accounting software, you're already marketable. In fact, you're already ahead of the game because so many people don't know how to use it. So if you are now looking for a job as an accountant and you can put on your CV, I know how to use QuickBooks, I know how to use Sage, I know how to use whatever accounting software is out there. It's a game changer already. So I would say in your space now, you're an accountant. How can you learn how to use any of this software? There are some free software online. There are free versions. Download the free versions, teach yourself. Go on YouTube. There are YouTube videos, how to use this, how to use that. Another thing you could do is that some of the banks in Nigeria, when you open a business account, they give you accounting software free for about a year or so. So I know Fidelity had a program at one time. I think GT Bank too had a program. So ask questions. Go to these banks. Which of them have free software that you can use? So if you're able to use the software and you're reading accountancy, you can help a lot of businesses are looking for how to write up their books and become tax compliant. We all know that tax people are FRC is out to get tax from everybody now. So that alone is a unique selling point. People need to put their books in order. So a lot of your friends who are running small businesses, your mother's friends, your neighbors who are running small businesses, how do they keep their financial records? So many of them are still writing it inside a book. This is how much I'm owing. This is how much I have paid. That could be a beautiful business for you. Look for small businesses, offer them accounting services using the accounting software that you have learned how to use, and charge them money for it, you know. And there you go. You've got a business, you got the skill, and you are making yourself marketable. So that would be my starting point. That is not to say as you go along, you could also explore other areas of technology that will further enhance what you're currently doing. So there's no hard and fast rule. There's no, oh, it must be this or it must be that. It can be anything. It's all about exploring what works best for you. But my suggestion and my starting point would be go online, look for any of the free accounting softwares that are available and begin to learn how to use them. Once you can master one, you can use that as a sell it as a service. That would be my advice.
Thank you very much, Lady Shire, for that. Anybody have any? Dave, you want to add something, or Ayo, you want to add a point there?
So there's this thing I normally say that after the superheroes, the fictional superheroes, people who know how to use Excel are the next set of superheroes. So if you ask, I can bet that if you ask Lady Shayo, or you ask Mr. Ayo, or ask any of the professionals here, in the last 2 weeks, they have probably touched Excel or Google Sheet or something. So you can never escape it. I do not work in accounting now, but I still get to use Excel and Google Sheets. You will never run away from data. Actually, if you're going to work in an organization, a renowned organization, you can never run away from data. So if you do not have anything at all, I'd say master Excel so well, get familiar with your Excel, your Google Sheets, understand computation, the formulas, stuff like that. Anything you're building on a weak foundation will crumble. So yours is to master the foundation at these very early stages. The real accounting, debit and credit, taking numbers, having a mastery of the numbers, the formulas, those basics, they are so important, even before you start layering tools and AI on those things. Very important. You excel, your foundation is so key. Don't run away from it. That's the foundation.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Dave, for that addition. I think do we have anybody contributions, or you want to ask a question, a quick one before? I think we're already running out of time. Before we bring together our last slide for today before we wrap up this event today. So if you have any question, anything you want to ask, any burning points you might have, feel free to share them in the comments and we will take them. So I want to say, everyone, thank you for staying with us and for being able to also find value in all of this conversation or the event for today. As we had mentioned earlier when we started, this event is not only for us, or it's not for an hour with the manager or OptiClick or ASEI, but rather it's for every one of you who are actually here today, so that you can also ask your burning questions and see how to prepare yourself for the next 10 years, 20 years of your career, or 30 years of your career and thereabouts. So for the last information here I want to share with you guys today will just be a quick slide. Allow me to just share my screen quickly. So as I mentioned, our conversation is going to be practical. So all we've heard, as we listen to them, we should also see how to implement them. That brings us to the Monday morning task, right? So we'll bring together all of these discussions into one. So just allow me to share my screen in. So back to the conversation of today. Says it from invisible to ready. How do you get yourself positioned How do you prepare yourself or get yourself positioned on LinkedIn and probably across other platforms? And that brings you to what you need to fix today, just like the discussions you've heard so far from the guests. What are the important things you need to really prioritize, right? And when you see that, it's how you position yourself, right? It should be like, if I should come to your page, I should see something that should really tell without having to ask so much questions. And then the second thing there is, if you're invisible, you are you are overlooked. And then the third thing there is fix the foundation to fix the foundation to build the future. So you need to prepare yourself, you need to position yourself, and you need to fix the foundation. As you've heard David mention, don't leave the foundational information. So you will need them at the top. You will need them as you move forward. You might not think it's necessary now or it's relevant now because you just want to be out of there. You want to graduate. You want to upscale in your career. So you have to go back to the foundation and fix them. Understand what you really want to do and plan for your opportunities tomorrow and see how you can position yourself and attract for the opportunities tomorrow. And then the second thing there is, say you are not unqualified, right? You're just invisible, right? Which means it's just how you position yourself, how you've been able to put out the value you're sharing, how you've been able to make people see what you're really doing, right? And the three things here is that it's because there are no clear value proposition or positioning, and then there's too much of generic headlines where you just copy and paste without even refining. And then there's also weak or empty about session. So your LinkedIn session, if I look at it, it's more of like, I don't really want to connect with you because there's some people you want to connect with. Some people might connect with you not because you have lots of followers, but just because of the way you packaged it, because of the way you position your about session, because of what you've said about yourself, because of the experience you've been able to put out there, even if you don't have so much, but because of the insight, the knowledge you have, right? The way you can actually put out things. Someone might be interested and say, okay, let me get to know you and see if probably we can work together or collaborate or partner or probably might learn something from each other. So that's really tell you that, no, it's not really about you or you not being qualified. It's just how you put yourself out there, just to re-emphasize on the previous point. And then the next thing I want us to really leave here today is shift from just being a job seeker to being a value creator. Like you've heard our guests mention, share values as much as possible, go into comments, engage with people. You might not even really have to post every day, but just by being in comments, reshare, you engage with things that concerns where you're going to in your career, where you're actually moving for, where you see yourself in the next 5 years, 2 years, 3 years, or thereabouts, right? So engage with the right people, collaborate, seek out opportunities, ask them, what do you really need to do? What should I do best? Or just give a thoughtful comment about what you've seen in that content you've seen out there online. Probably even outside of LinkedIn, if you consume Quora, Reddit, HBR, that's about business review, there are spaces there where you can also, engage with people, get people to also know you, for you to be visible, right? That way might also give you also attract people to you as opposed to just being at the back end, which nobody might really know you and you'll be complaining that you're not moving forward and you find it difficult to move next. And as you had mentioned during the panel discussion, to where you had mentioned, where you're saying communication goal, right? What should you really do to put yourself to be strategic on these platforms? Because LinkedIn, you find so many comments, you find so many people, you find so many professionals every day posting, saying what they can actually do. But what should you really do to communicate your value, to communicate your positioning, right? So that those who are actually looking for you, those who your possible clients might be able to see you and also engage with you. That brings us to what you should do, how you should really define what you're doing so that it's easy for anybody to understand, it's easy for anybody to follow up with, who you help, who specifically is your solution. If you're a digital marketer, right? Who are you really engaging with? Is it small business or is it the big business or the corporate, right? Do you want to start with the small business first or you want to go with the corporate? What level are you at your career at that stage that you really want to, put this thing out for them to really know? So who specifically are you helping? Are you helping the small guys or are you helping the industry guys, the big guys who are already there, the corporate guys? And what results do you really expect them to see? Or what results do you really want to see from who you're helping, So what results should who you're trying to help really come to see on your profile. So if I come to your profile and I cannot really tell what you do, I cannot really tell or what they call it specifically if you're speaking to me, if I'm your client or your potential customer, right? And I cannot see the possible result that you might be able to give either in your CV or on your LinkedIn platform, right? That might be a red flag, and I might have to reconsider and probably look for a recommendation. Maybe look for who you know that can say, okay, I can vouch for this person, because LinkedIn today is more of like what they call it, a digital CV or digital office, right? Where you can easily see people go there and, okay, the screen is small. Oh, sorry about that. Is it better now? Okay, let me know if it's clear now. Okay, so thank you for that, Grace. So communicate your goal, what you do, who you help, and the results you're trying to engage with. So now we're now going to the 5-second rule, which you should be looking at for your LinkedIn, right? What should this 5-second rule? The profile must answer if I should visit your profile. If I don't know you, I don't know any of you, and I'm visiting your profile and I want to engage with you. The first question anybody should be able to answer is, who are you? What do you do? And what value do you bring? Right? What value do you bring? Who are you specifically outside of this platform? And then what do you do? And how should I address you? What should they really know you as, or really tell about you? And then going into LinkedIn again, we say you have to fix your headline. So that brings us from when you've been able to define what you do, who you are, and who you're actually serving, you now moving to clearly fixing your headline, going over to your headline, right? So the headline is that first page you see on your LinkedIn once you open on your profile, right? Which I think you can as well see here, where it's just a brief summary of I help in brackets who achieve social results using social skills, right? So if you can't answer these questions, that might be a challenge for you. Is it finance? Is it accounting? Is it digital marketing? Is it or what do you call it? Is it law, or any aspect of your career, right? Or any aspect of your professional engagement you're moving with? So just like a quick example here saying, I help tech startups scale their user base using data-driven marketing strategies, right? So that can be like your action statement in your headline to help anybody really tell who exactly you are, right? So even if you're a graduate or you're an early career professional, you need to see how to position your messaging so it is very strong and easy for anybody to come on board at first instance to, engage and communicate with you. So the next thing I also want us to understand about the whole LinkedIn structure or strategy is you should also learn to tell a story, right? Not really about going through full history about your life. You just want to spare everybody with going into so much about so much history, right? The only time where your personal history or information might come in is if the message you're trying to pass, right, connects from you as the first experienced person, right? Meaning that you were part of this, right? This is like from a personal perspective, you're sharing it. Then that way it can really make sense. So some of the structure you can actually use, right, when you're trying to tell the story, when you're trying to build build a proper about session of your LinkedIn profile, right, for anybody to really engage with you or connect with you is, first you should be concerned about the hook, right? That first part, which is where you want to grab their attention. If I should come in, what should I really read first about you? What is the problem you're trying to solve? What are those gaps you're trying to fill, right? How should you really position the problem so that the solution itself can be clear, can be understandable? That is how you're solving it, and then there's a proof. So you always find. Let me just check something real quick. I had one of the guests for an Hour with Manager podcast who was like, "It is very important to always get recommendation." Right? It's not because you've always had these recommendations or review, you should probably not ask for more of these recommendations. Even if you've worked with people before in the past, reach out to them. Even if it was simple volunteer stuff you did, reach out to them, ask them for a recommendation. You bring on board that recommendation, you include into your LinkedIn profile. And that way, even if you're a graduate and I come on board checking out your profile, for me to easily see that recommendation, I can tell that you have a level of experience that might probably need just refinement, and you can do better or become better at what you're doing, right? So you really want to be concerned about your about session on your LinkedIn profile, so that anyone who's coming to visit can really know how much ready and what you can actually do. Though it might not tell everything entirely, but is a step to clarity and really understanding, right? And the next thing here quickly is the anatomy of or the opportunity you should actually look at, right? What are these high impact, what a high impact profile actually looks like. This is not actually the entire framework, right? But you can use this to build on understanding what you should do, what you shouldn't do, how you should do it. Over time, you should always update your LinkedIn profile, even before we go into the what the full impact profile looks like, right? But always know that your LinkedIn profile should always, what do you call it? You can always update it. You have a new role, you find yourself in a new career, you update it so people can always know. So the first thing there is for you to have a high impact profile is to be clear and make your headline very strong, as we've mentioned. And then the second thing is you focus on your about session, you make it very compelling enough, so that anyone who's actually engaging with you or connecting with you can really know you. Make it clean and professional, make it stand out, make your image, just go to the studio, take a simple picture or use your phone, tell a friend, stand on a clean background, take a clean picture. Someone should be able to see you and, trust who you are, know you're a human. And also align your skills, right? List out the skill sets, what you have, what you've already done, what you've done in the past, where you've engaged yourself. List it out in the LinkedIn skill session. Let people know what you've done or what you're still, in the process. And still, even the about session, you can also use that to, understand some of these basics. What do you call it? To let people know about the early things that you're trying to know. Maybe you're trying to get into a new role or you're trying to get access to new opportunities. In your about session, you can include some of those little informations, to help anybody also know that you're open for learning, not only to to work or to do business. Then I just wanted to quickly also look at some of these profiles, which you should also have access to. That is the guests we've also had today: David Ewele, Lady Shayo, Ayo Aribao, Anthony Wachira, who was supposed to join us here, but although has another engagement. So take a time, familiarize with their profile, familiarize with the guests you've had today, look at what they've been doing, check out their headers, check out the about session, see the way they post, see the way they share value, look at the comment section, just spend time on the platform, not to engage, but just to learn, just to understand, just to observe first before you even start taking action, right? So get to familiarize with the platform so you can, or with their profile, so it can help you reduce some of those, so much jargons. Or better still, you can as well look at that and use it through AI, to develop your own profile as a template, right? You can pick any of the profile there as a template to include into your AI and let it maybe ask a few questions, give it a prompt, and it can, optimize your LinkedIn profile for it to look that way. So these are some examples just from my own profile, how I started out, where we are in our journey so far. Easy for you to really understand that we're actually talking about African professionals, African brands. Our concern is Africa, not just the whole world. Yes, we want to do global, but Africa first. And how is this Africa first? We are also here speaking with Nigerians, speaking with other people from other parts of Africa, in Kenya, in South Africa, and the rest. And that way, you just need to, put these things in place. So you've seen the header, the about session. You can also look at Dave's profile. Good venture support, digital transformation. So take a time, familiarize with each of these profiles, see the key informations, the hook, the action points, the problems they're solving, the solutions they're actually putting themselves out there to, to engage with. And as well, you see Lady Shayo's profile. These are important pointers where we've mentioned. You've seen the headers are always very important. Then the about session is where you always want to position yourself. Likewise, Ayo himself. So just have a look at it, spend time, familiarize with the system, familiarize with the platform. It might look a little bit tedious, but the more you get conversant with LinkedIn as a profile, as a platform, that way you can also translate it into other platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and the rest, right? So just understand, observe, learn freely. And this is for Anthony Wachira, who should have joined us. And that brings us to here. So before we get to the Monday morning task. So I just want you guys to really understand the whole flow as important as when we talk about being globally ready or being global market ready, right? You want to position yourself, and the easiest way for you to build an online CV now is LinkedIn. And why that is very easy is because you can as well showcase all that you're doing. You can showcase your talent, you can showcase your skills, you can showcase your career path, you can showcase your journey on the platform. And that is why it's easy for you to really, use LinkedIn as a first digital portfolio before you even start engaging with other things or other platform, even before even going to having a website, right? LinkedIn can be that website because LinkedIn also have a newsletter channel where you can also send newsletters and engage with the community. So with all of this, as I had mentioned, that will bring us to having a Monday morning task, which we're going to be engaging with all of you in the community, in our WhatsApp community. So like we had mentioned in the comments, so what you'll be doing for us is to make this very actionable, to make all the discussions we've had with all the guests today very actionable. We would like you to, take up these actions and get back to us next week, Monday, in the WhatsApp community. So it says here, pick your track, A, B, or C. Pick what parts you fall under, whether you're an early career professional, you're a graduate, or you are an entrepreneur, right? Based on your career level, update your LinkedIn profile, following the blueprints we've been able to share, right? Familiarize yourself with the guest profiles you've been able to see here. Just spend some time, see some of those important pointers you need to follow up with. Check the hook, check the action statement, the problem they're solving, the solutions, and how they've been able to transition in their career. And then connect with 5 professionals in your dream industry, any industry you're actually moving into, be it accounts, be it logistics or construction, be it real estate. Be very sure of who you really want to connect with. LinkedIn has a for free users, right? I'm just going to share this as a tip, right? So if you want to use LinkedIn and be very, very effective for free users, let me start with that, right? For free users, the best way for you to really extend your network, because LinkedIn has what they call connection 1, connection 2, connection 3. Connection 1 is your first connection. That is those you're directly connected with. It means because I'm directly connected with David, I can have access to his second connection and probably his third connection. Then second connection is those David knows, right? So because I'm connected to David, I can easily get to his second to the next person. And that way LinkedIn will give me easy access to connect. If I don't know David, I can't connect with his second connection because he will be a third connection to me. That is, it means he's not in the first connection, he's not in the second connection, and he doesn't know anybody in my network, or I don't know anybody in his network. So I can't connect with him, and LinkedIn won't give you that access. They have some limitations, right? So you might just connect and it might take time for them to engage with you and all of that. So what you really want to do is you start with 1, you connect with the first person. Once you connect, you go to their profile, you connect to the person, immediately go to their profile, check the chat, like their message, comment, drop a comment. So that way they can easily see your notification and know that, oh, this person reached out and they need to probably check and either follow you back or connect back with you, right? So don't just click connect and connect with them, but connect with them, like their contents, go to the comment box, leave a comment there, and then do that and see. And then you'd be able to, that way you'll be able to infuse yourself with the people you're connecting. So it's not just for cloud. So share that screenshot with us in the community, and then also make 1. So this is how you're going to submit. So you share the screenshot of your updated profile of LinkedIn, 1 sentence of how this makes you globally competitive, and then we will follow up the conversation from there in the chat. So guys, thank you very much. And I want to say, start before you are ready. Don't wait till you graduate before you proceed. And the best time was yesterday, and the next best time is now. So I just want to say thank you guys for the audience. Thank you very much for the attention. Thank you very much, everybody, for being patient and for staying true with us and for showing up. It's very, very much important. And as much as possible, we wouldn't have been able to do this without you guys. And this event was for every one of you. So we will continue this. We'll continue this chat in a WhatsApp community, and as much as possible, this is a safe space for you to get acquainted, understand what you're doing, share every ideas. This journey is not alone. The career journey is not alone. You might start today and you feel confused, but by asking the right people, asking the right questions, being in the right room, being in the right community, you might reduce your steps from 5 years to 2 years or 1 year just by knowing the simple things you should actually do and when you should do them. Okay, Lily Shaw left the message here. Thank you very much for that. Titus, I don't know if you would like to share anything before we give it a close.
No. It was a fantastic session. So cheers to the amazing work from the panelists and the keynote speaker and the entire admonition, or should I say, information that was transferred. So knowledge transfer rather. So great one so far. Thank you so much everyone for joining. And I think this will be the end of the session for now. And we'll continue, as Ubong has said, we'll continue on the group chat.
Thank you very much. David, do you want to say anything before we wrap up, please? Thank you. Still here?
Thank you very much to everyone, and thank you to the panelists also. I learned a lot from them, and it has also informed how I think about working with the younger ones and emerging leaders. I really appreciate you, Ubong and team, Titus, Gloria, and the entire team for putting together this very insightful one. I'm looking forward to how you can make the V2, the V3, like the subsequent versions, even more impactful. And everyone who has participated, I've shared my link earlier, and I believe I'll also try share it to Bong and team so that if they need to push out post-event communications, we can also connect post this event. Thank you so much, everyone. Looking forward to seeing you all and sharing the topic with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David, for having us. Yeah, please go ahead.
I think someone is requesting for link to access the group. So that I can.
Okay.
If you have that,
all right,
share it on in the chat box so that. Okay, I think I see it now. Let me just quickly put it there.
Okay, we can. Thank you very much. Ayo, I see you're still on the call. Do you have any last word for us?
I don't think I have any other things to say. I would just to wish everybody well and good luck in the career. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ayo. And to everyone, we've just dropped the community group link in the comment section here. So we would continue the conversations. The recording will be shared or will be sent to the community. So for you to have access to it, you have to be in the community to have access to the recording. And then we'll communicate every information with you guys from next week. But so far, Monday morning, don't forget the task. Let's see how we can transform our conversations from theory, most importantly, to practical. Even if you've not decided any other thing, but just decide today to take action and see how just by taking simple actions and simple steps, your life will be transformed. And once again, thank you very much, everyone, for the time. And we look forward to Q2 events and making it more impactful and more successful as we continue to move forward in our career.